Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Prescience Camshafts Limited earnings conference call for Q2 and FY25. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star, then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Karan Shah, Whole-Time Director, Business Development. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to thank you all for being a part of this Precision Camshafts Q2FY25 earnings conference call. In case of any detailed questions related to finance, please email your questions at cs@pclindia.in and we shall provide you a reply. We have submitted the investors' presentation for Q2 of FY25 to stock exchanges on the 24th of November, and the same is also available on our website. Investors are requested to refer to the same. I'm pleased to announce that Precision Camshafts Limited, on a standalone basis, has achieved a growth in top line as well as bottom line in this quarter, despite the challenging economic conditions. Q2 revenue increased by 6.33% quarter-on-quarter to 181 crores, and our net profit reached 18.36 crores, up from 18 crores in the previous quarter. Our subsidiary Menco has also shown improvement. Menco's total income for the current quarter was 13.04 crores with a net profit of 0.45 crores for this quarter. This positive shift underscores Menco's effective turnaround and its operational improvements. While the Indian market had remained insulated over the last 1 year, we are now starting to see headwinds here as well. In Germany, our group company MFP has achieved some stabilization under these turbulent times. MFP's total income for the quarter was 27.3 crores. And despite the ongoing challenges, MFP remains focused on diversifying its product portfolio by introducing new customers and components. However, I must say that we are facing great challenges and strong headwinds with our e-mobility subsidiary EMOS in the Netherlands. There is a revenue dip which is largely due to the overall recessionary environment in Europe, delayed decision-making by the municipalities on capital investments, withdrawal of certain subsidies in Europe, the Russia-Ukraine conflict, amongst other things. This geopolitical instability has caused a shortage of parts and increased volatility in vehicle costs as well. EMOS earned a total revenue of 17 crores in the last quarter compared to 46 crores in the previous quarter, and the outlook is still muted for the next 2 to 3 quarters, post which we can expect some recovery. Turning to our e-mobility efforts in India, we have started with the commercial sales of our retrofit solutions for several customers across India. Our close collaboration with large fleet owners over the last 1 year has now started seeing some traction. The demand pickup in this business is slower than expected, but has started. In summary, Precision Camshafts Limited continues to navigate opportunities and challenges with resilience. We are committed to delivering value and driving growth across our diverse portfolio. Coming to the financial performance of the companies, on a standalone basis, PCL, which houses the camshaft business, had a total income increase by 6.33% quarter-on-quarter to 181 crores. EBITDA margin was 20.5% and PAT margin was 10.1%. Coming to the consolidated business, total income for Q2 decreased by 9.2% to 238.8 crores. EBITDA increased by 13.98% to 35.6 crores. PBT was 19.6 crores and PAT was 8.4 crores, which is 3.5%. With this, I would like to end my opening remarks and would like to open the floor for question and answers. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Gautam Rajesh from Leo Capital. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for this opportunity. My question was on the camshaft business. What portion of our business comes from Europe, and what sort of growth are we looking for the next, let's say, 2 to 3 years for the camshaft business?
Thank you for the question. So at this point of time, about 50% of the business is domestic market and 50% is export. Out of that 50%, I would say about 20% is Europe, and the rest is North America, Korea, Brazil, Mexico, etc. So it's very well diversified in terms of the countries that we are supplying to. It would be very hard to give a number in terms of what the growth perspectives are for the next 2 to 3 years. But as I have said in previous calls, we have a very robust order book for the camshaft business, even up to 2030. We are installing new capacity as we speak, for which additional capex has been incurred in the current year. We have received new contracts, new business from Indian OEMs as well as overseas OEMs for new engines or new camshaft programs for new engines. So I think from a order book point of view, we are quite secure. And we do see growth.
Yeah. Okay, you can't give like a rough figure per se.
Sorry?
You can't give a rough figure for like 2 to 3 years down the line?
No, I would like to not give forward-looking numbers.
Works. And my second question was, what's the progress on the EMOS business in Europe? By when do we expect a revival here, and what sort of scale is possible here?
Look, I think it's not a situation which is unique to EMOS. If you look at across the board in Europe, a lot of companies have been facing these significant headwinds. I would, without naming any companies, there are several, at least 5 to 7 companies in the field of work that EMOS is in, or in the general electrification space, that have gone belly up in the last 6 to 12 months simply because they cannot sustain in these markets. A lot of this is driven by the fact that there is a significant delay in decision making from the government side in terms of buying of these various electric mobility assets. There is a lot of shift of subsidy which is going away from e-mobility towards the war efforts that are happening on several fronts in Europe. And in general, a lot of instability and a kind of a recessionary environment. So I think there is a slowdown. We are not the only ones experiencing it. But despite these times, we are sustaining the business. We are scaling it down, of course, in terms of the people and so on to sustain these times. And I think it would be at least 2 to 3 quarters before we can expect a sizable recovery.
And post, like let's say in 2 to 3 quarters, you see recovery. Is there any scale you can hint towards?
No, I don't think there's any scale I can hint towards. We are working on with a lot of customers. Again, we are a derived demand. We work with OEMs across Europe. We are basically working exclusively with these OEMs. So as they grow, we will grow with them. You have seen this in the past, prior to this slowdown, significant growth in revenues and essentially getting to profitability. But I think at this point of time, it would be very difficult to put a number.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I wish you all the best. Yeah.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Shagun Jain, who is an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hi, Karan. I wanted to know 2 things about those investments which you have done, right? There was a capex of 25 crores done to set up a new plant. Okay. The plant was for the camshaft business and for EV mobility business also in India, right? So where are we on that, and when is the plant getting commissioned so that we can start knowing, seeing the revenues coming in both for the camshaft side and also for the EV mobility business in India?
Yeah, so the investment is still underway. The plants are being built. The plant should be ready in the next 2 months, let's say. But then it will include additional 10 to 12 months of setting up the machines and so on. That is not what is being done right now. It's only the plants that are being built. So towards the end of next year, we should see start of supplies from this plant, which is for contracted business with customers in India and overseas for camshafts. in terms of the e-mobility business, we are the plant that we are setting up right now is not only catering to the demand or the book of business that we are building up for the Tata Ace and those plus retrofit, but we are also working on some more new exciting projects on heavier vehicles. There's not much that I can say at this point of time beyond that, but this plant will be utilized for the retrofitment of the small LCVs as well as certain very specific and special applications of heavier trucks for the Indian market. But I will speak a lot more about that at the appropriate time.
Okay, thank you. And what would be the capacity of the camshaft business which you are putting up in this new plant which is coming up?
I mean, it's hard to define capacity right now because it is all dependent on customer orders and so on. What we have contracted for right now are 2 to 3 businesses, which will make up about 70,000-80,000 machine camshafts per month, and this will continue to increase. But the total size of the plant is much bigger than the 70,000-80,000 that I'm talking about. So the capacity that can be installed is significantly higher.
Okay. And this would be primarily the machine camshafts or the casting ones, which the new plant which you are putting up for?
This will be assembled camshafts, which are then machined also. So these are not cast camshafts.
So these are the higher margin ones, right? Which
yes.
Which we are able to. Okay. Fantastic, cool. Now, second question is, what is the progress on the non-engine business which you are doing? When you got some orders for braking systems, etc. So I wanted an update on that as well.
I think similar to what I said the last time, we have already installed one machining line. Already parts have been shipped. I mean, production has started. But the big issue there has been, of course, the fact that these parts are getting supplied towards European OEMs. This is all export business. And because of the slowdown there, we have a drop in volumes as compared to what was planned in the original ramp-up. But, of course, the projects are awarded. They have been started production, including some new business that we have won at Nemco, which is for non-automotive components as well. So all of that will start ramping up and go into production in the calendar year 25. But the crankshafts for braking systems is already productionized. Okay.
And can we have some sort of estimation as to, your top line now is around 700 odd crores, right, on standalone basis, probably 5-7% growth over the next year, 10%. So what percentage can this business constitute in the overall growth of PCL and the standalone level? Some rough number can you give us, or will it not be possible?
No, I don't think it will be possible. Not right now, especially with the volume reduction right now. I think it would be not painting the right picture in terms of what that business can be as a total part. But I think once we are at a stable volume, then I should be able to provide more insight on that.
Okay. Is there a plan to get into non-engine components in India as well? Probably because the huge amount of cash you're generating, probably look at some inorganic acquisition route in India?
Yes, also looking at that, yeah.
Okay, fantastic. And if you could give us a little bit update on the EMOS India business, the retrofit, how is it going? And whether we have won any order, if you could.
Yes, of course.
It would be great. Yeah.
Yes, of course. We have won orders from 4 to 5 different customers across India. These are in different spaces. One is a logistics company, one is a biomedical waste company, one is a large services company that is doing waste collection, another one is a pure logistics company and e-commerce. So, and these are big names with large fleets. We have started commercial sales to all of them across India in 6 to 7 different states. And I think the way this works is basically it's the first of its kind in India. We are doing something which has not been done before at scale, especially. And so customers are obviously looking for evidence of how this works, whether the savings are real and so on. And so it will be a slow start, but we are quite optimistic about it because we have seen certain customers who have said, okay, let's start with 5 vehicles. Once they are successful, we do 10, then we do 50, then we do 100, and so on, right? So we have an idea of what the total size of the fleet can be, but it's a slow ramp up, and we have to build the trust with the customers. We have to explain to the customers that this is the right solution for them. It will work in the long term. How does service work? How does warranties work? Things like that, right? So it's kind of creating a new space in itself. So it will take a little bit of time.
No problems. We are not in a hurry, Karan. We just want to know, how is the business proceeding, and is there a way you could tell us what would be the total vehicles all these 5-6 customers have, so that we as analysts can estimate, some numbers in our mind, yeah, total number of vehicles was there.
So there are about 5,000 odd vehicles just between these 5 customers.
Oh, fantastic. Wonderful. And once the proof of concept is done, ready, if they are happy, they will move ahead with retrofitting all these 5,000 vehicles over the next probably, say, 3-4 quarters, 5-6 quarters time, right?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. And there was this policy of Telangana which had come out, which had given some subsidy on retrofit. Can you give some dope on what are the different states having some retrofitment subsidy or some benefits which are being given to customers?
No, at this point of time, there are no states which offer any retrofitment subsidies. In fact, the subsidies that were there for new vehicle purchase also on the EV side are gone. Right, so there are, at this point of time, I think there are no subsidies available. There is a framework that is being developed called FAME 3, but we really don't know until it is published.
Okay. Fantastic. And lastly, when will you start giving out the numbers in terms of how many retrofits you have done? I know it is slow and steady, 10, 20, 100, or whatever it is. So we get to know how the progress of it is.
I think once we have some stability, once we have a good flow, I think that's when we will start doing that.
We can expect that next quarter?
I would not say so. I think we should be a little bit more patient in this process, because it's not like the traditional camshaft business or component business where we are completely doing a demand-based supply where OEMs are building vehicles and we are supplying components, and therefore the volumes are very predictable. This can be up and down just based on how a customer reacts, what kind of capital they have available, what kind of fleet allocation they want to do, and so on. So it would not be fair to give such numbers and then make predictions or forecasts based on it.
Okay, understood. Lastly, there was one point in an annual report also that you are readying yourself to be an OEM in this space. So if you could give us a brief dope on where that project is headed to and how the progress on that project, please.
We are working on it, but like I've said before, it is still a couple of years away. We don't want to jump into something which is extremely capital intensive, requires tremendous networks being created across the country and so on. We want to make sure that this retrofit business takes off properly, that we have enough vehicles on the road that can prove that the technology works, that everything is in place. Only then we will take that jump. But internally, the progress is going on.
Okay, thank you, Karan. Thank you for your answers. Yeah, all the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vipul Shah from Sumangal Investments. Please go ahead.
Hi, thanks for the opportunity. So, Mr. Karan, when this retrofitting business scales up, what type of capex intensity that business will have?
Sir, it's not a very capital intensive business because there is no plant. There's no machinery and tools and so on required. It's mainly a process of disassembly and assembly. In fact, as we scale up, we would intend to have small micro factories across the country rather than having one standardized setup in one place. That is purely to save on logistics costs. You can imagine that if there is a large fleet in Bangalore, for example, or Delhi, it would not make sense to drive all those vehicles to Solapur or Pune, convert and then send them back. It is best to do retrofitment locally. So we would do that. Even in that case, there are certain partnership models that we are working out on with local competitive service providers. And the only requirement for scale here will be working capital, basically to fund the business.
And Mr. Karan, what is our total nameplate capacity for casting camshafts and machine camshafts? And what is our capacity utilization? If you can give some color, it will be really helpful.
The casting capacity is about 12 million camshafts per year or 1 million per month. And the machining capacity is about 4 million camshafts per year. We are at about 80% utilization right now because of the reduction in volumes around the world, not just India, but around the world. We are down to about 75 to 80% on the foundry side, and similarly 70 to 75% on the machining side. But hopefully, as things improve over the coming quarters, we will have better utilization of these assets.
So in past, what was our highest utilization?
We have been at 90% on both.
Okay, Karan. Thank you very much. And all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. A reminder to all the participants, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. The next follow-up question is from the line of Shagun Jain, who is an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Karan, besides the business side of things, I wanted to check with you on the balance sheet side. Now we have generated around 75 crores of cash in the first half of the year. We have more than 250 crores of cash lying on balance sheet. So, is there a plan in action to use that, or probably return some of it to the shareholders, but via a larger dividend or a buyback or something like that?
So I think the primary plan is, of course, funding investments, whether it is camshaft business.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have lost the connection for the management. Please stay connected while we reconnect them. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for patiently holding. The management is back online. So please go ahead.
Thank you. As I was saying, the capital allocation is mainly towards new investments in the camshaft business as well as funding the EV business as it grows. I think besides that, what we are intending to do is expand on our solar capacity, which is today it's 15 megawatts. We intend to double it in the next year or two. This is because we have significant part of our expense on the camshaft side, especially on the foundry side, is power, and we would use some of this capital for expanding on that capacity. We are, like I said, also looking actively for inorganic opportunities, but that needs to be at the right time, the right company, and so on. So there would be some amount earmarked for that. But I take back your suggestion on buybacks and so on, and we will discuss this internally with the board.
Right. And this NFT business of yours in Germany it seems to be in a long-term, problem. It is not completely, revived, or it's not in our, if I can say, we don't seem to have control over getting it into profitability for whatsoever reasons based out of Germany, right? So, is there any thought of looking at divesting that particular entity because it's not making any money and we are throwing in a lot of cash, right, to that entity over last few years we have done it. So, and your thoughts on the same, if you have any.
I would refrain to comment on whether we divest it. I think we are putting in a lot of effort from the India side as well as from the German team to recover the situation. I think there are some factors that are completely out of our control, which is difficult to manage that, but some that are in our control, we are trying to. I must add that yes, it has been not profitable over the last couple of years, but it is not draining on PCL, right? We are not funding MFT's losses through PCL. It is still managing in liquidity and cash flow by itself. There is a standalone company by itself, and there is no transfer of funds from India to MFT to sustain that company. So our best efforts are there in order to revive and turn around the situation there, but it's a little bit difficult.
Okay. So then we might consider a sale of the company as well, right? Probably.
It all depends on the situation.
Okay. Thank you, Karan.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next follow-up question is from the line of Vipul Shah from Sumangal Investments. Please go ahead.
Mr. Karan, you said you want to increase the solar capacity from 15 megawatt to 30 megawatt, right?
Yeah, something along those lines. Not the exact.
So what will be the capex for sale?
It will be similar to what we have done right now. So the total investment was about 60 crores for 15 megawatts, including land and panels and permissions and so on. So it would be similar to that.
60. Hello? 60 crores, right? 60.
Roughly, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. As there are no further questions, I would now like to hand the conference over to Mr. Karan Shah, Whole-Time Director, Business Development, for closing comments.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining this conference call. I hope we've been able to answer most of your queries. We look forward to your participation in the next quarter, and thank you again for joining this conference call. Bye-bye.
On behalf of Precision Camshafts Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.